Now, in 2016, wine writer Ben Franks joined forces with a Hungarian wine importer with the aim of making the wine market more exciting. So after tasting thousands of wines over many months and recovering from whatever hangover that gave him, Novel Wines was born.
But Ben promises to put the fun back into wines by playing on curiosity by matching people's palates with undiscovered distributors, and that's what he's here in the Crunch Bristol studio to do.
Welcome, Ben.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for bringing such a selection.
Yeah.
So Novel Wines brings wines that might be quite difficult for someone to find into quite an easy place, isn't it?
Exactly right, yeah. So we're looking to move away from the supermarkets where you find all your usual French, Spanish, Italian wines and bring something very different onto your table, basically. Every wine should be a talking point, is the way we see it.
So let's get straight in, Ben. You've got quite an exciting one for us to go with straight away. It's an English sparkling wine.
Yeah, that's right. So this is holds a special place on our list. It's Furley Estate from Dorset. They got near the Jurassic Coast.
You're preparing yourself for the pot.
I am. I'm leaning back already.
So it's made. It's all right. I've done this before.
You used to say, let's not lose a light. Right, here we go. Woo. Oh, that wasn't too bad.
Oh, well, and you kept it in his hand.
Oh.
Right, let's dish some of this out. So, what makes this a British sparkling wine? Because most people will want to call this a champagne, won't they?
Yeah. So you've got English sparkling wine is grown and made in England. We can't call it champagne over here
because it's not made in
Champagne. Yeah.
But this one's slightly pink.
Yeah,
so it has a nice colour.
It's exactly the same grapes as champagne. So you have Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and you should get similar champagne flavours, but you get a lot more fruit in your English wine.
It does smell very fruity. Let's try it.
Very fruity, like you're saying, but we've gone straight in for the sip, but you went for a sniff.
Ooh.
That shows our distinguished guest in here and people that just want a drink on a Monday evening.
Yeah, so 60% of what you taste is your smell. So you want to, first impressions is you always smell something before you taste it. So it smells fresh, summer berries, but there's that toasty sort of almondy flavour as well, and that's from the autolysis because it rests on its leaves. All champagne rests on its leaves, and most quality English sparkling wine does as well.
Well, it tastes lovely, and it's very fresh as well.
We're going to continue to taste that into the break. Let's quickly...
Well, Ben Franks joins us now in the studio. He's from Novel Wines, who want to excite the wine market by allowing people to taste wines from undiscovered producers from across the world.
So, Ben, we've done England. Now let's hop on our metaphorical booze cruise. Where's next?
Let's go to Japan next, because they produce very elegant light styles of white wine.
So Japanese wine is something... I'll let you do the honours, because I'll probably do it wrong. Something that I'd never heard of.
Yeah, so if you know Japan for any sort of drinks, they're great at spirits, whiskies, all that sort of stuff. They're amazing at making sake. I mean, no one else can get away with making rice wine we want to drink. But they've also taken it into the white wine market as well. So koshi, which is what most of their white wine is made from, came over in the spice trail. And they've adopted it.
Koshi, would that be a grape?
Yeah, it's a grape variety. It goes really well with sushi as well, as you might expect for a Japanese wine. But let's have a taste of it.
So you said this was very light. So
very light.
Does light in the sense of wine? Does that mean the flavours aren't really?
Thank you.
You can't really tell them apart, or?
Well, what it means is you have to concentrate a bit to pick up the different levels.
Yeah.
It should be very clean, very elegant, loads of lemon that just keeps on going and going after you've tasted it. But it's made by Anna Misawa, who's one of the top female winemakers. And yeah, it's a beautiful style.
That is very light. It's very easy to drink, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of white wines are, quite strong. And you mentioned these are all dry wines as well, but for a dry wine, this is very easy to drink. It is very nice.
It is, yeah.
So this business that you started sort of kicked off last year in April, is that right? And you said you kind of discovered it and made it within a weekend.
Yeah, so I was running a wine consultancy at the time, working flat out, and took a long weekend holiday. And just it all came out onto a sheet of paper over the weekend. Came back, met up with George, who's my business partner, importing Hungarian wine for 5 years, and I said, what do you think of this? Let's go into it 50-50 and see how we do. And we spent the next 5 months or so just drinking 1,000 or so wines.
And now, just like today you introduced unusual wines to people through tastings and subscriptions.
Yeah, definitely. So you take Bath, which is probably the most classic market in the southwest, and we put on a big event, 200 people, paying guests, came and tried 100 different wines they'd never tried before. And people want something different to put on their table, talk to friends about, give as a gift for Christmas. So it was a great success.
And what do people? What's the reaction when you give someone an Indian or a Japanese wine, someone that really knows their wine? Are they surprised? Do they sort of think, oh, it's not going to be like my Cabernet, something?
Well, there's always people like that, but the people who love wine are usually surprised. I mean, we spent a long time making sure we've got the very best from every region, because if you taste Japanese wine for the first time, you have to love it. If it's just good, you'll never buy it again. You have to love it.
Shall we do one more really quickly?
Perfect.
Let's get another one.
Seems such a shame to chuck all of this wine in a bowl that's just collecting absolutely everything.
It's collecting next to you. I'm wondering what you're going to do with that bowl full of wine afterwards.
So this is something completely different. It's from Lebanon in the Bekaa Valley. It's made from 3 varieties. You might notice a bit of Sauvignon Blanc, but there's a slight nuttiness. It should be unlike anything you've really had before, because it's made to go with a very citrusy Lebanese cuisine.
Do you know all your wines inside out? It seems like you do, but you could have prepared for all this, but for all we know. But do you know your wines quite well?
Yeah, I mean, if we're a small team, and if we're selling them, we've got to love them. So I drink my own wine as well as other people's wine. But yeah, I know them back.
I tell you what, that is very, you can definitely pick up the flavour. I'm not sure what I'm getting, but the flavours are much more pronounced than the Japanese wine.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, I bet when you're tasting wines, comparing them with other wines as you're going through helps you to sort of reflect on what you've just drank and understand it a bit further.
Exactly, and when you think of food, Japan, sushi, very neutral, very elegant flavours. When you go to Lebanon, loads of citrus, loads of herbs, so you need nuts and herbs and things like that in your wine.
So you were saying earlier that you tasted thousands of wines over just a few months. Now, your passion for wine must be huge, because do you not ever feel like, I've had enough wine? Like, is there not a point where, I can't drink any more wine?
There's some weeks, and you finish off with a good pint in the evening, but I mean, if you go to a tasting event, you're trying so many different styles that it's hard not to be excited by something.
Well, Ben, there's no whining here. We've very much enjoyed having you on the show. Thank you so much, and good luck with your world of wines. But still to come on the programme is Dudley.